2016 has been an interesting year. There have been so many political developments, from Brexit to the coup in Turkey to Duterte's victory in the Philippines, and most recently the election of Trump in the U.S., the victory of Trump in the U.S. That political commentators have been talking about. We're seeing this sort of global populist wave and this pushback against globalization, and we're not sure that that's true. There's certain things that seem to be similar across these countries, but there's certainly others that are different. And to the extent to which there are similarities, it's not clear that we understand why this is happening. So this course is an opportunity to ask some questions about what's going on, to look at some data. And we're really excited. We have more than 40 students from about 20 different global network schools who've decided to take the course. And so we just came out of our second session where we connected with people from all around the world and ask them questions. What's going on where you are? How does what we're seeing here fit with what you're experiencing?
We heard from someone who was speaking about Brexit by talking about conversations she'd overheard in kind of South London pubs. We heard from someone in Turkey about how he saw what's going on in Turkey, how it linked to a book on populism they had read for today's session. So I think that's something that, while Yale itself is very global, people might not have the on-the-ground experience seeing these things play out day to day in other countries.
We're really trying to do two things. We're trying to ask questions and learn from people who know a lot more than we do. One of the great things about Yale and the Global Network is that we have what we sometimes think of as convening power. We can bring people together. We've brought these students together across the network, but we've also invited experts to join us. And they're excited to get this opportunity, as Sarah described, to talk with people who are in many of these countries, who themselves are case studies of globalization, and share their thoughts with them. Because whether you're an MBA student or a faculty or a manager, we're all trying to make sense of what's going on, right? Is this sort of a step change? Is this a paradigm shift? Or is this just sort of a bump in the road and really a reminder that we need to pay attention to globalization losers, and as we do that, we sort of move forward. And so, we'll be having these experts, and they'll be sharing their perspectives with us. Then we'll be looking at some data. The students will be collecting data on a number of indicators. They themselves will be involved in proposing what indicators to collect data on. That's sort of the idea of separating signal from noise. The way we want to approach it is not by prejudging, is globalization great, is it bad, is it great for everybody, but really try to understand what is sort of the best knowledge out there about the causal relationships, and then what do the data actually suggest, and to what extent do claims about job losses or flat wages or tensions related to immigration or security concerns, to what extent do they seem to correlate with support for populist parties, anti-globalization policies, and so on?
I think it's rare for a course that anyone has the opportunity to take, or in my case, a TA, that ties academic theory with current events. And what I took was a real takeaway from today's class was we went through kind of defining populism and how it might be similar to or different from anti-globalism or economic nationalism. And then with that kind of thesis of what populism is, we went ahead and actually analyzed the inaugural address of President Trump. And I thought that was just such a fascinating way to tie current events to kind of academic rigor, and just a takeaway of how tying both makes you kind of have a richer understanding of what's actually happening in our day-to-day news.